The word Navajo, in its original form, the people who gave us that name were the people that we referred to as Anasa. People call them the Anasazi people. They gave us a name, which is pronounced Navajo. The translation of that word, that ancient Anasazi word, means field people. That is because our people would refer to everything when the child was born, they would refer to them as Dak at Dine, which is to say you are a field person. And like the field, from you comes many generations and generations of people. Dannikin kenoti, tänäni kliniki. Ako dannikset niiko ei äidikat. Adot ahosani iseeta en ikidikat. Nde ei sahan nepetatit pahatti. Ako ei teekö ajo jadahas keego ei äidi penasniti. Dannikin massan dannikset seida atat ei dannikin keno. Adot oi iseeta le hajo opehosanko. Ako hot eego ei äidi hannetas anosin dikat penketa huilnet olde. Our old people used to be very strict about the idea of making names. Not only naming your children and other things in our environment, but there are sacred names in certain ways that things are said, and there are reasons that names are given and names are accepted and then names are used. So the teaching of the language and the way that we say things, many times people in modern times get confused and they have no basis for why a name is given or why we refer to these certain objects and that they're modern as the way that we do. So the old people, when they were very strict about naming things, they were probably more concerned about the names that were given to things from way, way back. And one of the very first things that we have to understand is the actual being, the beings that we are on the surface of Mother Earth. And it is that from the very beginning in the first world, in the previous world, which is called the blue world, is sometimes, of course, referred to as the turquoise world. It is a place where we were regarded as air beings. And then, of course, when we made our journey and we came into this world, the yellow world, the third world, we came from a place that is considered above here, and we came down here to below. So the name that we refer to ourselves in this life and in this world is Diné. The word Diné is a compound word. De means up, ne means down. And so it is that we refer to ourselves as beings that came from an upper place to the lower place, which is the surface of the earth. The teachings of our Diné, when we talk about Diné, it is that we could be talking about all people on the surface of the Mother Earth, or when we want to make a specific point about the type of Diné, we would say Adonne, which is to give it completely a different interpretation of the way we perceive that of being a surface being. And the whole Diné is all people. Sometimes they are referred to as Balashtlai, which is the five-fingered being, which would probably be more understood to be the humankind. And the teachings of our Diné, when we talk about all people, we call them Diné, which is the surface people, and that is the surface of Mother Earth people, and that would include all people. And Balashtai is being a little bit more specific, because when we say Diné, it is all life forms, which means the vegetation, the insect, the birds, and the animals. These are considered as people in themselves. Diné. And then when we get specific to the humankind, then we say Balashtai, the five-fingered being. Down through the years, we have encountered numbers of different people from different groups of Diné, or surface people, and they have their own name as far as what they use to refer to our people. Sometimes they call us Yuttaha. Yuttaha is a name that is given to us by other people. And of course, the ones that would refer to us as Utah is a group of people that were lived among us, probably the Apache, and it was taken up by the peoples from the Ute Nation to the north of us. And somehow that name, Utah, was heard by the early pioneers and settlers that came out here to the west, and they thought that the Ute people were referring to themselves as Utah. And the name, of course, spoken in the English language, became Utah. So there are very important ways to understand the names and that were given and the names that we know of today. The one word that is really confusing to our own people is the name that is given to us today, Navajo. The word Navajo in its original form, and the people who gave us that name were the people that we referred to as Anasa, and which would, of course, people call them the Anasazi people, who were here for a short time. But it is that they gave us a name, which is pronounced Navajo, and it was, in their own language, the way that they referred to our people, Navajo. The translation of that word, that ancient Anasazi word, means field people. That is because our people would refer to everything. When the child was born, they would refer to them as Dak Diné, which is to say, you are a field person. And like the field, that is the clockwise spiral, from you comes many generations and generations of people of Diné. And so the name Navajo is a word that was given to us as a name by the Anasazi people, or the Anasazi people. And to this day, we hear it occasionally. Our people refer to us as Navajo, and that's the way we hear it today. But when the Spaniards came onto this continent and into the Southwest, they encountered our people, and our people did not accept them after a period of time. And so they wanted to identify who we were. And so they asked some of the other local people, and the question being, who are those people that come here and take our property and raid our settlements? And they were told, those are Navajo. And that's what they were told. When they heard the word Navajo, they gave it the Spanish pronunciation, and they even applied the Spanish spelling, and it came out Navajo with a J-O at the end. And then, of course, down through the years, a special consideration was given, and they changed the H to, or the J to an H. So today we see it written as Navajo, and instead of with the Spanish application of the word J-O. The word Diné is said to be a sacred name, and it is to be understood that it is our identity of a being coming from a place that is above and to this place that is below. Diné. And now we have other things than that we apply the word Diné. When we introduce ourselves to our people, the other identity that we have, besides being the spirit children of the Supreme Being, and coming from their presence down to this earth, we call ourselves, by our clan identity, which is for myself, now, in that bunch of words, I said my clans, from my mother, from my father, and my grandfather on my mom's side, and my grandfather on my father's side. And that's my identity. And that, in giving those 4 clans, I also let people know that is what makes me a Diné, male Diné. We always identify as being male or female, and as Diné. And so the teachings of our people are very much sacred in the ways that we refer to different things. And it is that the sacred names that we give the 4 sacred mountains, the seasons of the year, and all of these things that we have specific names for. And then, of course, we name things today by the various ways that we see something. If we say computer, there are many different ways that we could describe it. But I remember the very first one, which was Beshachi Enantni, which is to say the copper wiring that have memory, was the way that they would refer to the very first computer they encountered. And there are many words in that that describe various things in that we were not familiar with. So the teachings of our people, again, is that our old people want us to never change the names and give different names unwisely to things that are very sacred to us in the original teachings, and they don't want us to change it and understand something else completely. Now, in modern times, many of our young people are relying on the anthropological studies and various groups and organizations that try to outline some type of past history. But our own people, our Diné, we have the stories of our past. We have the stories that go clear back to the first world, when we first came into existence as a being. And then, of course, our progression to the second world as a spirit being, and here we are in the third world as a physical spirit being that has a mind, that has feelings. And these are things that are important, and they all have names, and they all have many teachings. Now, when we talk about the teachings of our Diné, one name that might apply to something, like, for example, our name, Diné, it has many other stories attached to that particular name. Hanepatati is what we are told, that the name Diné has many different other subjects in that are attached to it to make it very important and very sacred. And it is our individual identity as a being on the surface of Mother Earth. And we, of course, can refer to other people as Diné or Diné in some cases. And it is when we don't tag on the female or the male and we say Diné, then that would mean all people. So the younger people think that the word Diné means the people. That is completely wrong. That is not something that the Diné, the traditional Diné, would understand it to mean what we would think the young people think they understand. Diné is not a name that means people. And so the teachings of our people, as I say, were very strict in giving names. Don't make names without knowing that some of them are very sacred in our language and cannot be made to mean something else entirely. And so those are the teachings of our people.
Hey, thanks for watching our videos. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our uploads. Also, head over to our website, NavajoTraditionalTeachings.com. Sign up for our email list. Okay.